So inmydata has some fairly sophisticated calendar functionality that allows us to easily do year-on-year comparisons. So I'm going to create an example using the dataset we're looking at here. So it's a store sales dataset, and we've got some sales over many years, and we might want to do year-on-year comparisons by store, by product, or maybe by week. So I'm going to go into the settings screen. I'm going to select my subjects, and then I'm going to select in my store sales subject, and I'm going to add two new metrics. So the first one is going to be a calculated column. I'm going to call it sales value this year, and this is going to be a summary calculation based on my sales value. So it's going to sum up the sales value, but I'm going to filter it to the current year. So I'm going to say where the date is greater than or equal to a calendar value, and I'm going to select the start of this year and press OK. And then I want to also filter it down where the date is less than or equal to, again, a calendar value, and this time the end of this year. Okay, so this calculated column, whatever chart I add it to, is going to automatically sum up the sales value between the start of this year and the end of this year. And then my comparison one I want to compare to last year, so I'm going to create another calculated column, and I'm going to call this one sales value last year. Again, it's going to be a summary calculation based on sales value, and I'm going to filter it on the date, a calendar value greater than or equal to, and again I'm going to select the start of this year, but I'm going to select as of 1 year ago, and then I'll add another one in, again where the date is less than or equal to calendar value the end of this year, again as of 1 year ago. Press OK, press OK, and save my changes. So now if I go into create a new dashboard, we could add a bar chart, and on that bar chart I could select the store, and if I just refresh my columns, we can see I've now got sales this year, sales last year. Press OK. So now it's really easy to create charts that compare by store, by product, by week, etc. this year versus last year. Now if I change this chart, and instead of by store we do it by week, and I'll change it to a line chart, we can now see comparing week on week. So the green is sales last year and the blue is the sales this year, but we do have a problem comparing to last year. So last year, because of the pandemic, our stores were shut at the beginning of the year, so we've got nothing really to compare to. These are just web sales. So ideally we'd allow the user to select a different comparison year. Maybe we'll compare against 2019, which was the last normal year before the pandemic hit. So we can facilitate that easily in inmydata. Again, if I go into my settings, back into my subjects, and again edit in my store sales, and I'm going to add in two calendar variables. The first one I'm going to call current year, and I just want to allow the user to select just years, so I'm going to deselect all of the other financial periods, and I want it to default to current year. That's correct. And then we'll add a second one in, and this one's going to be our comparison year. Again, I only want the user to be able to select years, but I want it to default to 1 year ago. And then I just need to apply those two calendar variables to my summary calculations. So last year I'm going to edit the two filters, and instead of as of 1 year ago for last year, I'm going to select as of my calendar variable, which is currently set to 1 year ago, so I actually get the same results at the moment. So calendar variable comparison year. And just so that the user could also change the year that they're actually looking at, the this year figures in my charts, I'm also going to apply my current year calendar variable to the two conditions in that summary calculation. That's okay. Now if I go back to my dashboard and I now add in a control panel, I can add in my two calendar variables, so the current year, and then we'll add in my comparison year as well. So now if I wanted to compare against 2019, I can just set my comparison year to 2019, and there we can see we've got sales throughout the year because we're looking at 2019 where there was no pandemic.